Testing. Okay, great. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unraveling Politics, the weekly political analysis show. This is the promised second segment of Monday's episode. If you missed Mondays, you don't have to go back and watch it. This is supposed to be a separate video for reasons I explained back then. The only thing we're going to discuss today is the Supreme Court decisions last week. The term of the Supreme Court just ended last week, and they issued three major rulings. The term of the Supreme Court just ended last week, and they issued some major rulings regarding mail-in ballots, birthright citizenship, transgender athletes, and more. The term of this... Regarding mail-in ballots, the Supreme Court ruled against Republicans siding with Mississippi, upholding their law to allow mail-in ballots to arrive 5 days after Election Day. Amy Coney Barrett wrote in the majority 5-4 opinion that nothing in the federal Election Day statutes requires ballots to be received by Election Day. Chief Justice Roberts, Barrett, the three liberal justices voted in the decision with, in the majority opinion, writing with Samuel Alito, and Samuel Alito wrote the dissent. So this will keep the status quo, and the irony is that Justice Barrett was appointed by Trump, and she ruled against the RNC. Putting that aside, I think there are arguments for both sides here. Ultimately, I think ballots should be received by Election Day, but Congress would have to pass a law to make that legal. So ultimately, this was a good Supreme Court decision. And states run elections in this country, not the federal government. Next, we have the Birthright Citizenship Executive Order. This was signed in the first few weeks of the Trump administration last year, but it was rendered unenforceable by a lower court. The decision was 6-3, with Justice Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett siding with the three liberals, as I think one of the other ones, I'm not sure. In his dissent, though, Justice Roberts wrote that the Civil Rights Act and Citizenship Clause already guarantees citizenship to people born and domiciled in the United States regardless of their race. So yes, Justice Thomas is correct in that belief. He believes the application of the president's order is consistent with the original meaning of the clause. And yes, Justice Thomas is in fact correct. We do need to have restrictions on birthright citizenship, except the thing is that has to be done through a constitutional amendment, not an executive order. At the very least, it should be done through a law passed by Congress, not by an executive order. We know that if the court had upheld this ruling, it basically would have left millions of children stateless. However, I believe you should be legal to have children who are citizens. People who have children in the U.S. who are not citizens themselves are so-called anchor babies. They have so-called anchor babies, and I think this was the wrong way to go about it, but perhaps it's best the court made its ruling in this way. However, the Trump administration did achieve a massive victory in rolling back Biden-era temporary protective status expansions. Temporary protective status is also known as TPS. Key word being temporary, usually around 18 months, except many people who are currently on TPS have been on it for 15, 16 years. Some of them have been on it for decades longer. In 2020, 60,000 Haitians and Syrians were on TPS. Now it is 350,000. So the last administration, which I called the failure administration, clearly did its damage on immigration policy and used TPS as a backdoor visa program. And the Trump administration is trying to end TPS for all of these people. And for clarity here, TPS is not an immigration status. No one on TPS is going to get a green card or citizenship. They are living here temporarily, allows them to work before being sent back. It's basically a hall pass that allows people in the hall for a little bit longer before they're kicked out of the school. The left-wing media will tell you that they came legally, but this is not true. They were granted TPS because they were going to be deported because they were illegal immigrants. And as I have said many times on this show, it is time to end all of our refugee programs. Our country is full. We need to close the door. This was a great 6-3 ruling by the court, which will allow the Trump administration to get these people out of our country as they should have been deported over a decade ago. By the way, the State Department has a level 4 warning on these countries where it says that if you go to these countries, you should prepare a will because it basically means you're going to die. So why would we want these people in our country? It is not our job to keep these people safe. We have 340 million people in this country and we need to focus on them. And then lastly, we have a ruling on transgender athletes, and this was a huge win. The court ruled that states can ban transgender athletes from female sports, and this is obviously a common sense issue. Trans women, aka fake women, also known as men, are biologically different from women, and they should be not be allowed to compete against women, as that steals women's opportunities. And this was a big culture war issue just 4 years ago, so this is definitely long overdue, but it is the right decision. It is a huge victory for common sense, and it looks like it was a 6-3 ruling. And really, we need the court to define what a woman is, because we have Title IX laws, and they should not be applying to men who think they are women. So what did we learn from this saga? Well, if it was not clear already, we should be absolutely clear now that we live in a democracy and we are not sliding into dictatorship. If we were, then the court would have been intimidated by President Trump, and that has not happened. And the court would have ruled on Trump on all of these issues, and instead it was a mixed bag. So that is it for now. Thank you for tuning in as always, and you will hear from me again on Monday, July the 13th. Bye-bye.